Welcome, everybody. This is Hugh Massie, the chairman and founder of DNA Behavior. And today I'm delighted to be hosting another one of our identity conversations. And I have with me Bill Bloom, who's based in Chicago. Bill is the founder of Diane Money, but also the founder of Bloom Financial. He's a sailor, runner, devoted dad, is in for the full exponential life experience. So welcome, Bill.
Oh, Hugh, this is such a treat to be on the show. I'm really excited to, share some great stories with your incredible audience.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to learning more about you and your life journey. So Bill, why don't you just tell us a little bit about your life and career background and how you got to the place of starting firstly a financial services business, and then you've now built an app called Diane Money, and that's, I think, a big part of your future growth. So why don't you just launch off?
All right, here we go. Rocket ship time. Boom. Here we go. Okay.
Moonshot time.
Yep, absolutely. I think when you take time to look back at your childhood and you realize the good, the bad, and the indifferent, it's a big reason why you are where you are today. Doesn't matter what age you are, whether you're 60, 30, 20, it doesn't matter. So my parents were awesome when we were kids, but they could never figure out how to make a dollar work for them. So there were a lot of times in our household where I didn't know if we were going to have a roof over our head, which was pretty traumatizing as a child. Now that I look back on it, and I remember that stress that was always there. Money's super stressful.
Yeah.
But, we all have DNA and behavioral, realizations around money. And when I got into university, I wanted to figure out how to make money work for me, like selfishly. Like I wanted to figure out how to make money work. And that's why I got into the financial world right in 2008, right out of college. But I also wanted other people not to have that stress that I had. And that was a big reason why I got into the financial world. Solve the problem, which I love doing. I figured out that's how my brain works. And then it led me to realize that, yes, you could work with the financial advisor. You could have a wealth management practice. That's great. But what if you can't afford one? Or what if you don't need one? What if you like doing it yourself? Or what if you just can't figure out where your money should be going to help you reach your goals? And that's why I created Diane Money. It's named after my late mother, who passed away a couple years ago of cancer, unfortunately. But this is really an honor to her. Even though my parents could never figure out money, we were always loved. She was like my hero. She was always incredible and always there for our family. So she was always that rock for us. And I want to be that rock for other people.
Yeah, I think that's a very inspirational and also emotionally driven story, Bill. It's very deep in you, isn't it?
It's ingrained in me because I've seen the benefits of people having better financial lives. A lot of it's through habits. A lot of it is changing things or getting alignment for what you want. If you can figure out a goal, you can really adapt your behavior towards that goal to get to where you want to be. Because my dear friend and past coach at Strategic Coach, Teresa Easler, said something. If you don't have a destination in mind, the wind will take you any which way in any direction. So you really need to go after something. It could be as little as an extra $100 a month. That would free me up. Or I want to save for $1 million house or car, or whatever. It could be anything that your mind imagines. The reality is you have to work for it. You have to do the work. And understanding the tools that are available to you, that's going to help exponentially grow and hopefully make things go quicker for you so you get to your goals faster.
So, that's what Teresa said to you is very important, but I think in some ways you came to that realization earlier when you went to college. You'd had the negative financial experience at home, with your parents not being, let's put it tactfully, financially savvy, and you wanted to learn more about it and in a way build yourself. So just tell us a little bit more about your mindset at university, because it was probably a little bit more than just, well, I'm going to put $100 away in the bank account every month, or I'm not going to drink like everybody else does, or there was something else going on inside you, I think.
There was definitely something else going on inside me because when I flew to university, it was out in West Virginia. So first and foremost, it was a long ways away from home. I played soccer all 4 years. That helped pay for half of my university, but I had to pay for the other half. So
Yeah.
everything was on me. I wasn't dependent on anyone else. I remember getting like $20 Walmart gift cards from my parents, like when they had the money to send it. That was like a lifesaver for me because throughout college, I double majored in 4 years, played soccer all 4 years. I worked 2 jobs most of the time throughout college because I had to pay for my food and the other things that I wanted to do. So that taught me a really good work ethic, but it also allowed me to find value in things. So when I was home, I would go to the outlet mall and buy Nike soccer shoes for like $50, and I would take them back to West Virginia with me and sell them on eBay for like $150
Yeah. Okay.
because I bought them
Yeah.
at the outlet, and at that extra $100, and it was easy work, but I was able to find value in that. Even when I was a kid, I would work at the concession stands to buy baseball cards or basketball cards, and there was value in them. So I understood from a very early age, and not everyone has this. This is just part of my unique ability, is to find value in things where, you know what, if it's worth $1 where you have to spend $1 for it, it might be worth 10. So I just figured out that ability at a young age because I had to adapt because of my circumstances. I think that was a big part of my own DNA and my own growth, even as a kid.
So in some ways, your, the earlier life experiences and having to find ways to, be enterprising and make money set you up really for being an entrepreneur.
Oh, without a doubt. I always knew I was not going to be working for someone for like a 9 to 5. That's just not in my DNA. It's not who I am. I love freedom. I love having that freedom to go out and create and do things and just think. And I really spend time and I create that time because that's where the best ideas come for my clients and, for the app and to really give people a transformational experience with a better lifestyle. Because there's just so much stress with money. Even if you're doing well, there's still stress with money. There's the good and the bad stress. I would much rather have the good stress of having, okay, when do I set up a will and trust? When do I do the life insurance? What's going to be the tax ramifications of where I put money into the future rather than how do I pay off my student loans? How do I stop using my credit cards? All those little things are stresses, but there's good stress and bad stress. And I would much rather have that good stress.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, is that it's the bad stress for too long is the problem. And in a way, just listening to you then, you were always thinking forward. I think you've made the assumption in your mind early on that you were going to have money, and that you were going to have wealth. If you're setting up structures and thinking about that side of it, then you must have been thinking positively and not living in fear that I wasn't going to have money.
I always get what I want. I always get what I want. And because I dream big,
Yeah.
and wanting's not a bad thing. It's not about getting every single thing that you see. That's how you stay poor, actually. It's about setting up a foundation where this is what my goal is. Here's what my reward is going to be. I mean, you're always playing a game. Hugh, I mean, you're playing a game. I'm playing a game. My wife and I are playing the money game. But it's about what do we want? It's not about what anyone else wants. And that's the biggest mistake I've seen people make is keeping up with their neighbors, their
Yeah.
family. and it means nothing. It's all nonsense. It's like, what do you want? And it's just a matter of time and being patient and working. You have to work to get these things. I mean, manifestation's a beautiful thing. There's energy around that. I totally believe in that. But you have to put in the work. It just doesn't fall into your lap. And that's why creating your own game and figuring out what are your rewards going to be when you hit X goal. That's going to be the biggest determining factor, whether you hit things, because it's going to show you if you really want that thing or not, truly deeply down inside. There could be freedom, there could be no debt, it could be a summer house, it could be a car, it could be early retirement. I mean, even early retirement, you still have to do things with your time, and you really have to figure out what your passions are, and they could always change too. And just let things like that come to you, and your future gets better. And
I
it's
think your
quite
passions
easy.
can change. Your passions can change.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Mine has completely. I mean, I played soccer in college. I love it. I used to watch it on the weekends and follow it, and now it's not really that important to me anymore because my wife and I have two incredible kids, and I would much rather be spending time with them on the weekends in the mornings and taking them to soccer and going to swimming and doing those sort of things instead of watching TV. The TV
Well,
gives me no value. Like I don't make money doing that.
yeah, but that's where you can also get the passion feel, if you want to call it that, by if one of your kids likes um, soccer, that's great. Like I love cricket, and I always thought when I left Australia that I would never, see one of my children play or have the same access to it. Well, guess what? TV has changed, so I could get it all day long now if I want to have it on. But I've got a son who loves it, and it wasn't me pushing him to it. So I'm at the cricket field 4 or 5 times a week now. But yeah, but I think these things are interesting. But do you ever think that you've stepped outside that zone and like you've made a big mistake, you've had a path, but then you've gone on to another path for a while because you did think
Yeah,
you saw an opportunity and it didn't work, and then you've come back?
come back. I mean, I've definitely made mistakes before, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, here's a perfect example. I did like a really small snippet of my own podcast about this. Is like I was 23 and I bought a Rolex. Okay. And I bought it because I thought everyone else would think you're super impressive and you're a young kid. And it was a little flashy for sure, without a doubt. But that same $5,500, if I would have invested that just in the S&P 500 as an example, like that would have been $80,000. So like that was like a mistake. And did the watch make me money along the way? For sure, because people took me at a different level of responsibility, especially when you're handling people's money, when you're in your early 20s, when you look like you're a teenager, it set you apart. You had to play that role. And I saw the people who had been doing very well at that time in our organization doing the same thing. And they were in their 50s and 60s. So I wanted to be like them. But I thought it was this outside persona where everyone thought it was cool. People don't care. They don't give a crap. They don't care what you have on your wrist or things like that. But I don't even own it anymore. I got rid of it because there was no purpose for it in my life. I mean, that's a really simple financial mistake that I made. But is there a balance between that? For sure. Is there an actual dollar amount that you can equate to that? I don't know.
Well,
But I
I think
know
also it's a question of, did it give you any fulfillment having that watch? Did the Rolex give you any fulfillment?
it did for a while, but after a while, it didn't.
Yeah, it
It
became
was
empty
pointless.
after a while.
Totally empty, totally empty. Because the one thing that I've learned is that people care about themselves, and they probably care about less than 5 people outside of themselves. And that's including family and friends. There's a very small group of people who really care. That's why you need to focus on playing your own game. That's the
Yeah.
biggest thing. Is like, are there people who can come take care of your kid if they're sick? Or take you to the airport or whatever that case may be. There's a small group of people there. So just setting up your lifestyle around what you want, so critical, really critical. And it's not about having things, it's about what do you want to do with your time. And the money allows you to do those things with your time. And that's the fun part, is when you have the funds to go out and say, you know what, I want to take Tuesday afternoon off because I want to go to a Cubs game, or I want to go golfing, or someone wants to go shopping, whatever. That's really the freedom around this whole thing, is are you doing what you want to do with your life? That's a good question to ask yourself, monthly, quarterly, annually. You can make changes.
Yeah, because I think that, the way I look at that and hear what you're saying is it comes back to what is essential for you, not worrying about what anybody else thinks. What is essential for your own life, and included in that happiness and health and success, and that's all that counts. And when you boil it down, there aren't a lot of things that are really essential.
That's very true. Essential is, number one, taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, investing in a health program. Like every quarter, I do the Insight Tracker and Tally Health. That tells you your inner age, basically. So I'm 37 right now, but your inner age will tell you if you are younger or older from a health
Yeah.
standpoint. Just doing that once, even, because your doctor's not going to tell you these things. That's a great investment in yourself. If you take care of your health, I truly believe that the other facets of your life, your relationships, your marriage, right? Your relationship with your kids and your friends can get better. Even with your money, your relationship could get better with that as well. Those little things have a huge impact on your life that will compound for years and years and years. That's a game changer.
So, it's interesting because I do all those things as well. And, I didn't use the same test you have, but the Ageless RX one, I found out that I am biologically 14 years younger than I am my chronological age, because I've taken, all the steps to look after my health. But it is interesting that 5 years ago, or nearly 5 years ago, I really started focusing on health, and in middle of 2018. And it's interesting how every other facet of my life changed thereafter, and what was important, not important, how I handled myself in business, family, extracurricular activities. It all changed, or started to change. And it's very easy for me now to see what gives me energy and doesn't give me energy, and where I want to be, who I want to be with. That all changed. And I think it is interesting, the linkage of all of this to health, and the link to health and money at the end of the day.
Well, if you're taking care of yourself, you're probably maybe not eating as poorly, or going out to eat as much, or cooking more. You're not drinking as much. You're not going out and partying and doing those things that you used to. You're trying to sleep better, so you're not staying out till 2 a.m. and screwing up your sleep. And those little things have huge compounding effects.
So how do you bring that to Diane Money? Because at the end of the day, I think, Diane Money to me is a platform that want to help the masses, the middle market, maybe those that can't afford a financial planner as such, at least bring some discipline into their life, learn how they could fund what is important for them for the long term. I think that's sort of some of what I've been maybe connecting the dots on. Maybe you can clarify that for us a bit.
Well, I'd love to, and thank you for that. Really, thank you for that. It's the way that I describe it, it's a thinking tool. Because I've learned that the majority of people do not understand or know how to get to where they want to be financially, because it's too complicated. I mean, the system is set up to be complicated when you're born. right? You have to go to college, you have to go into student loan debt, because you have to be able to go work for a company and get a good job and all this stuff. That's great in theory, but they set you up to have debt right away. So if you
Yeah.
don't know how to get out of bad debt, we're the tool that's going to show you every single month what you need to do to get out of that bad debt, hopefully as quickly as possible. Because we analyze all of your spending, all of what you're doing, and give you monthly recommendations and ideas to guide you down that path. So you don't have to do the guesswork. And it really takes the stresses out of your financial life because you have those monthly recommendations just to show you what needs to happen for you to be able to get out of that bad debt or save towards the vacation that you've always dreamed of, or an anniversary present for your significant other, or just something you've always wanted and you don't know how to get it. We're here to help and to do the thinking for you and show you what needs to happen to make it happen.
So Diane Money is more of a financial planning done well type platform that people can come in and interact with effectively with you through the AI that's in the tool in the platform to learn how to manage their debt, their spending, and hopefully reduce stress in their life. It's not so much an investment management tool.
No, it's not an investment management tool at this time. It's truly like a smart thinking, deep thinking, computer-based program that just does the math for you. It all comes down to math. It's all
Yeah.
numbers. And I've seen it so many times throughout my career where people are just stuck and they don't know where to start. And this is a really, really inexpensive way to get you unstuck, just to give you that guidance every month, because things change. I mean, every single month, think about how painful this would be, where you have to write down every single thing that you spend money on, whether it's via your phone, credit card, cash, whatever that may be. And then you have your income from work. Are you positive or negative every month? Most people will have no clue. We keep track of that for you. So if you're positive versus negative, and if you're negative every month, it's pretty darn near impossible to become wealthy or independently financially stable if you're always negative. So just that in and of itself is worth its weight in gold. I mean, if you could spend a couple bucks, literally a couple bucks every month to figure that out, do you think that would be valuable? Pretty simple.
And I think, if you add on some of the research that we've done recently to this, that adds to what we've been a little bit talking about so far in our conversation, Bill, is that those people that are more planned in their life and save have better health. And so, I know some of your message there that we've talked about is the reduction of stress, but the consequence of reducing stress is improving your health and is improving those biomarkers in your life. You give yourself a chance of living longer.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
And you're going to live more healthily, probably going to have lower medical costs, and you're going to, overall enjoy your life better. And by not being stressed, make better decisions overall. So it's sort of, this is a big no-brainer, I think, for people to get involved with, with Diane Money and get their finances under control. And then the investment part, in a way, is easy after that, I think. Was not as hard.
Well, it can be. It definitely can be. I mean, you've been in the business, you understand it, you understand this better than most. I mean, think about it. If you have credit card debt or student loans and you don't know how to pay them off, if you're stuck, imagine what that extra couple $1,000s a month would do for you. Like what you could do for your future if you free yourself up from those really bad debt payments. That's the vision that you want to give yourself.
Yeah.
Is really thinking, okay, in 2 years from now, 5 years from now, or even a year from now, what do I actually need to do consistently to get out of this debt? And then think about what I can do with that money to enjoy my life. The truth is, you have to suffer at some point, Hugh. You have to go through the struggle. And people don't want to do that. They just kick the can down the road.
Yeah.
And a perfect example of that, I mean, I had over $54,000 of student loans after college. I paid them off in 3 years. I sucked it up. I got it done. It's a lot of money. I mean, if I was able to invest that $54,000 now, years and years later, it'd be a substantial sum of money. But the loans were like 8%. It's crazy. So,
But you've given yourself a lot of mental, by paying it off. Yes, you could have juggled the ball of having the debt running along and investing the money, but you gave yourself a lot of mental freedom. And that I don't think there's a price on that, to be honest, in your overall life. Because you can always look back and say, well, if I'd done this, this might have happened. Fact is, it didn't. And the other fact is that you are extremely healthy, right?
yes.
And I think that's but I think, Bill, that's a big message for people, because we can all sit there and say, gee, if I'd made this decision, I'd have X now. And that plays on people's minds. That's a problem too. It comes back to, which is where I want to get to, is who you are and who do you want to be, and what's important, I think, and not worrying whether somebody else has made more than you because they didn't pay off their student debt and they went and played the markets. The fact is you're probably healthier than they are. You've got a happy marriage, kids, thriving business, doing lots of activities. So what, right? You're better than everybody else. That's a big reality.
It is a reality. It gave me that huge stress reduction, because growing up in a household full of debt, I didn't want that.
Yeah.
That was the biggest determining factor. And then once I paid that off, I mean, that's what really allowed me to start my company when I was 28. I took the risk, became the entrepreneur, started my own company, had no idea what I was doing, set up my S Corp. And it gave me that confidence to go out and become who I wanted to become.
Right. So I think that's the thing. So that's the plus in getting rid of the debt, so that you're not a prisoner to it, and your life can never be taken away from you because you are indebted. And I think that's the issue for a lot of people. So Bill, just in terms of you, Bill Bloom, you've mentioned a little bit about your unique ability, and I know where that comes from. At Strategic Coach talks about having a unique ability, and I agree that's one of the right things to be thinking of. And you mentioned that it was about value creation, but if we look at you, in terms a bit more of your identity, and a lot of that, what I've been hearing today is the importance of eliminating debt, creating freedom in your life. So help us connect the dots a little bit between your unique ability of value creation and then helping people effectively manage their debt to reduce stress in their lives.
Ooh, connected dots here. This is interesting because,
well, it was always you knew I was going to get to the interesting bit at some point.
I love this because it really boils down to who you are as a person. Every single person is different. And, I've taken multiple assessments and different tests to show you who you are.
Yeah.
And that's been a game changer for me. That's been a great investment as well in myself, because I know that I don't do well when I'm around people who don't appreciate me. Gratitude is a huge part of my life, whether it's towards my wife or our kids or our lifestyle. Really my clients as well. That's a big part of it. Like the people who are ungrateful and always negative, I don't do well with those people.
Yeah.
And I'm super competitive as well. I have always played sports. I like competing. And I think that competition came out when I was a kid because it was part of my own survival mechanism to get what I wanted. So I figured out at an early age how to get what I want. Um, and the helping standpoint is just the most fun thing in the world. That's just truly what gets me going in the morning and get my day going, because I know that with the time that I've spent with people, we've been able to create this technology that's gonna hopefully help multiply that and help people out in a much more faster, efficient, cheaper way. And it's just really simple financial advice from just a numbers perspective. It's just a guiding light. It's your North Star to show you how to get to where you want to be. And I really think people should have goals and go after what they want. And people are scared to do so. They're worried about what others will think of them. And we all need to just let that go and just go after what you want. Because when you're 90 or you're 80, if you're able to be blessed to live that long or longer, I mean, you're going to look back and regret that. If you don't go after it, you're going to regret it. And that's no way to live. It's really not a positive way to live. And I want to give everyone that encouragement to go out and go after it and struggle a little bit and feel that pain, because you're going to grow from that. It's a beautiful thing when that
Yeah,
happens.
because it's interesting that a lot of that comes out of, your DNA discovery, the reports that you did online, and or the process that you completed online. And just for our audience, Bill is an adapter. So, at one level, Bill's very flexible. I think there's the patient side of you, the people orientation to want to help people and build relationships. But underneath there too, pioneering is a very strong trait for you, and that is a goal-driven, competitive person. And we've heard those words used a fair bit, today. The risk-taking is there as well, creativity. So somehow it seems, Bill, that you've been using your value creation abilities to help build a platform that's cost effective to help many people get out of debt and to stabilize their life so they can really go for it and pursue their goals. I mean, that seems to me what you've been doing.
You hit that right on the head. It's really a really simple way for us to analyze what you're doing and to show you if it's working or not, first and foremost. I mean, if you're doing something, you need to know if it's working.
Yeah.
Because you're going to waste 10 years and be in the same place if you don't understand if it's working. That in and of itself is worth like the $9 a month, $9.99 that it costs.
It's
That's a
cheap, isn't it,
huge
really?
investment. Oh my God, yeah. I mean, think about this. You probably spent over $100 on a pair of shoes in the past year that you didn't need, or clothes. I mean, why not reallocate that money into something that's going to help you financially for your future so that hopefully you could buy whatever you want? That's
Yeah.
like the give and take. You don't need this now. Wait, or allow the app to show you how to do it quicker. And doing the whole DNA behavior assessment was incredible because it was so aligned with who I am. And it was really cool to see incredibly how accurate that was, Hugh. And from a risk standpoint, I had to free up myself from bad debt in order to really take that on and go for it. And that's the message that I want to relay to your incredible audience and listeners. So you could do the same thing. You don't need to start a company, but if you don't know how you're going to be able to retire or save money for the future, or, really utilize the definition of retirement, which you've said it best from what I've ever heard in my life, that is truly the freedom mechanism. And this is like a tool to help with that.
And and to just to fill the gap in on the retirement definition of being able to do what you want, when you want, with who you want. Some degree, you've got to have financial flexibility to do that, which means you've got to have savings.
Totally.
And reality is, everything comes back to savings to allow your life to flourish, and it's critical to your health to have savings, because the people that get stressed are the ones who feel out of control mentally, and that's very, very important, and it allows you in a way to have the right perspective about what money is and what it can do for you in your life. But Bill, just so we can, as we sort of progress to wrap up here, in terms of your identity, how do you want the world to see you in the future? I mean, Diane Money is clearly going to be and is a big platform for that, and more people in the world are going to hear about it, because I want to tell more people about it as well. I think that's important, that you have a lot of people telling the world about it, but just how do you want to be remembered by the masses out there?
Well, the company's massive transformational purpose, or MTP, is to affect 1 billion people's lives positively, financially, throughout the world. And that's obviously not going to happen just in the United States.
Yeah.
Because the technology is really cool, because it's transferable to South America or India. You can take the technology and utilize it in different languages, because the platform is going to remain the platform. I mean, changing the language is one thing, but whether you live in India or England or Argentina or Mexico or the US, it's all the same principles. It's like, what do you really want, and how do you achieve those goals? Now, financially speaking, things are different in these different countries, but it's just understanding that role for going after what you want and eliminating that bad debt first is so crucial. And then freeing yourself up for your bigger and better financial future. So that's what my big 25-year vision is, and plus.
Yeah.
So that's how I want the world to see Diane Money, is just that transformational company, exponentially transformational company that's going to help change the world's financial view on really how to live your life in full fulfillment.
But for the clients to remember you a little bit, the users of Diane Money. So there's going to be 1 billion users of Diane Money. They're going to remember you as having transformed their savings pattern, you being the champion of saving, money. There's something there that I think they need to remember you through. The platform will be exponential in transforming 1 billion people's lives. But how are those 1 billion people going to remember Bill Bloom?
Bill Bloom. Well, just a thought leader.
And I know it's not about your ego. I think this is about how you hold yourself up as a human being. It's going to govern every decision that you make as you go on this 25-year journey.
Well, I mean, it's totally family first oriented. I mean, one of the big criteria for doing this is going to disrupt family life. And that was one of my criteria, is if it does that, then it's not worth it.
Yeah.
So this is an added bonus, really, to where my career has been so far. And just to remember me from that standpoint, Hugh, is really, it's not terribly important to me. It's more about honoring my mom's name and who she was. I mean, that's what's really cool and important to me, because you can have that motherly figure to kind of look over your shoulder in a positive way to just give you that guidance you probably didn't have before. And it's just being able to simplify your life. Things are complex as they are, and they're made like that on purpose by whomever that may be. Just how can you have less stress and more simplicity? And that's really what I want to see happen for people, because then they could just enjoy their lives more.
Yeah. So you see yourself as a life simplifier? Um, for,
Totally, especially financially, yes, without a doubt.
yeah. So financial life simplifier would be like an identity, and that comes from savings at the end of the day. Um, and then people wanting to live with essentialism, but somewhat to save money, you need to do that.
And you have to have purpose, that
Yep,
essentialism, that purpose,
yep.
that passion, and just really giving yourself that ability to go out and make it happen.
But
Because
it is financial life simplification, and that is what, Bill, you've been doing really since you were at university. Um, you kept yourself on track, very focused, learn how to create value out of, smaller transactions, entrepreneurial, and one thing's gone to the next.
yeah, and it's just still providing value and finding value and showing people their own value.
Yeah.
That's what this is going to do, is just show you where you have your own value. And that's going to be fun to see too. And that's one of the things that I'm really interested in reading about from our users and their testimonials and their success stories, is just seeing how they've been able to progress and, let their lives bloom into a better life as well. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah,
Really
I
enjoying
think
it.
you're on a great journey. So, Bill, just to wrap up, have you got any other suggestions for our audience, recommendations, a book, life strategy, piece of wisdom, anything you'd like to finish up with?
Know yourself. I mean, totally do your DNA behavior. Shameless plug for you. Totally. Um, that's a big one. Figuring out what's truly important to you, like what's giving you the most energy in your life.
Yeah.
Are the
Okay.
things that you're doing right now, are they draining you? And if they're draining you, change them. If there's people in your life who are draining you, family included, you can fire them. It's okay to fire friends and family. I mean, there's no rule that says you have to keep someone in your life if they don't belong. Because there are people who will try and purposely hold you down because they're insecure about themselves.
Right.
And you have to eliminate that. You have to shed those layers to grow. And again, embrace the hard parts of the journey. Really do it, because you're going to be grateful for them later on when you are free. That's going to be the fun part.
And that's
I-
really part of the financial life simplification, isn't it? Is focusing on what's going to bring energy into your life and
oh yeah.
address what's not in the most human way you can.
Oh yeah. I mean, to really simplify this up here is try and impress yourself. Work so hard, work so smart, and utilize tools that are going to get you to where you want to be so that you impress yourself and be happy with yourself. Not about what anyone else thinks. Impress yourself. Go after making yourself happy. It's not a selfish thing, it's a journey thing. Impress yourself, work so hard that you're not going to regret it when you're in your elder years and look back and say, I woulda, shoulda, wish I woulda. Um, Go for it now. There's nothing stopping you.
And
There's
that's
nothing
why
stopping.
identity is so important.
Yeah, know yourself. Know thyself is
Yep.
so important.
Well, Bill, it's been great talking with you and having this conversation. And I think we've got some great messages there for our listeners and for people in general. And I really appreciate, the work you're doing, and in a way, you're helping people bring life back to the basics. What's essential and important. So I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you and all the work that you guys have been doing. It's really great to find people who have alignment and really want to help people as well. Because when you have people like that in your life, great things happen. I mean, there's a ton of growth potential there too. So thank you for everything that you do.
Fantastic, Bill.